Everybody and welcome back. We are looking at building or putting together my control panel, and this is the printer that I got done from a company. Unfortunately it came creased. I'm pretty sure there were two of them, they only sent me one, so I have to order something again. However, I noticed that I'd actually done this area incorrectly. There should actually be, this should be a double slip, and then there should be one off into the sidings. These would be the main line. So I'm happy with everything else. So I've knocked up a sort of another version of it, just printed it out so you can kind of now see. Here's the double slips. These buttons would obviously toggle between the two areas. I might maybe make the arrow go here, not sure, but this is handy because I can cut this out. You probably can't make it out, but just through you can just about see the, just see it, the actual real line. So I can print these out, cut them at the edge here to move these lines, and the same with this one, and I can use those as a template. So I can put the holes through the control panel wood as for all the buttons and the LEDs, which are going to go in here. So part of the control panel I'm using bi-coloured red and green LEDs, and I'm hoping you spotted just down here that when I powered the system on, it has a start of day, and the servos all moved one way and another. Now currently the points that I've just laid haven't got any feedback sensors on them, but the ones that go into the sidings do. And you may have seen that this LED went from red to green, indicating the positions. At the moment this would be indicating of whether a route is set or not on the panel. And here I've got a little button. I've mocked it up as a little test. If I press the button, you can just hear the servo go in the background, and the LED has now changed to red. If I do that again, it swaps over to green. So the idea behind that, on each of the directions for the points, it'll either show red or green depending on whether it is, you know, blocked or allowed through. So I'm quite pleased with that. So this means now that I can actually go ahead and build my control panel. So this is actually a control panel that I purchased from eBay. It's from Grange and Hodder. I think it's this popular ply actually. This would be quite nice to be able to get something cut. They will do stuff cut, I think, to size. Just wondering how big this actually is. That is actually 5mm. Very lightweight. I'm wondering if this would be the better thing to put in for the upper level and get it cut to the width that I want. Anyway, this is the control panel that I've got. This is that goes on the back so that you can actually fix it onto the actual layout itself. Obviously some holes maybe for breathing and wires. And we've also got a connection that I'm going to put in on the side. So this is just a control panel. There's some little bits for the shelf unit. This is the back. What could be the bottom? Oh yeah, it says on there. Look. Grange and Hodder. So the sides will be cut on. I've got a little 4-pin DIN so I can connect my C-bus into it and power. The idea behind that then would be, this is going to have the actual cam pan that you saw me testing a second ago, where the connector board will be on here. It'll be glued so that I can, with the ribbon cable, so I can move the panel up and down if I need to, and I can unconnect it and take the entire panel away if I need to do any work. So that is the control panel, and as I said, these will kind of fit on there. This is the first time I really looked at how that would actually line up. It looks like it will fit quite nicely on them. So I can obviously create a template, make sure it's nice and level, mark all the holes, drill small holes big enough to put the LEDs and push buttons through. I'm hoping that will look quite nice. I'm considering about whether I should actually paint this, maybe paint it a dark colour to offset the actual thing. This is actually what it would probably more or less look like if it was stuck on. There's a little bit of an overrun there, but that's kind of what it would look like as far as a control panel goes. Just checking That should be right for holes. So I think the connector board will go on the other side about here, underneath these areas. So the plan is to mount this so I can take it on and off fairly easily when I need to, because obviously I need to work. So I'm going to look at mounting it just here. I'm going to use something similar to this. So you push it in and it latches in place, so you can take it away. And on the side port, I'm going to put a little like XLR 4-pin DIN connection, so I can plug it in and take it away when I need to. So I've just measured up. So the centre of the centre is 339mm. I've put a hole. I'm going to use this kind of screw. So nut and bolt, like I said, I'm going to push it through and bolt it from the rear with a washer on the back, similar to this. That's all bolted nice and tight. So I just need to drill a couple of holes. What a result. Although actually it's not quite long enough. Luckily I have a set of alternatives which are considerably longer. So with a little bit of off-camera finessing, I can now get that on. I'm kind of hoping that that is level. And they're not perfectly, not as level as you'd want it to be. So look, how much is that off by? So if it's permanently placed, you could actually tighten that up to make that level. But it's, so I've connected a little DIN plug just underneath the board. So the idea behind that, I can just plug in using one of these into that connector where I need to put the control panel in place and operational. And I need to connect it into the C bus. So the options are to cut this out and solder onto the back of that unit, or I decided I will probably purchase another one of these little gizmos. So basically I can connect the C bus in, but instead of having this connector on here, I'm just going to have it with a couple of fly leads, and I can connect it into the back of the 4 connections on the actual connector just here. So yeah, so this should all be pretty useful. Like so, you can plug it in and then detach. You can pull it out like that. That works quite nicely. So I'm pleased with that. So far, so good. The control panel is now coming along. I've glued 2 of the edges on, and I'm having to use what I can to try to get a square connection. So I've got a couple of pieces of wood clamped in place using a spirit level as another side to try to keep it nice and square. I have to add a little hole on this panel just here, probably about 4 or 5mm, to run the cables through so I can connect it to the electronics inside. So the main electronics will probably sit here. I think I might need to have another little unit here for a few additional LEDs, because the unit I'm going to put there only has 32 capable. The control panel will lift up, and then the other unit will sit underneath that. So I'm going to continue gluing that, and I'm hoping that by the end of today the panel will be complete. The control panel is pretty much dry and assembled, so this is just really kind of a mock-up how it would look. The actual printed sheet is just loosely laid on, and it's incorrect as well. That needs an adjustment. And then inside I've kind of got a few bits and pieces. Got the CAN-PAN control module, got to have another item. I've wired up the 4 DIN socket to sort of plug into the system, and that can all go out through this little hole just down there. So all in all, the control panel is making progress.